Okay, what is everybody, and today we are going to be talking about some things that you probably did not know about Call of the Wild. These are going to be things that are going to be tips for beginners or just general things that probably some of you will not know about this game, including myself. I didn't know some of these things until either somebody told me about it or I just randomly stumbled across them. First thing being, there are actually two shooting stands or shooting ranges in the game. Now, first one is in Hirschfeld, so this is the map everybody gets, and then it's right down here in the Rattenfeld Schießstand. So this is where you can go. It's operated rather easily, so you see your target there on the right, and then you can go in here and select whatever distance you want to shoot. So let's say I just want to quickly shoot at 100 meters here. Ammunition on here is also going to be unlimited, so you're not going to be wasting any ammo. And then you just basically shoot, and as you can see, the more bullets that you put in there, depending on where you shoot, is just going to give you a score at the top. It's going to tell you how many shots and your overall score. Now, if you want to reset that, you just got to go here, press E, and all that is gone. Now, this is not the only shooting stand. There's also one on Parquet. So let's quickly go over there, and I'll show you guys that one too. And, well, the next shooting range is at the main lodge where you start off at the beginning. So right on here, and all you got to do is you just got to walk slightly down here towards the west. And you can either go up in the higher kind of shooting stand, or you can just go in the same thing that you had before on Hirschfeld. Here again, ammunition is going to be unlimited, and then you can just practice your aim here. Now probably should be zeroed for the right distance as well, but that is generally how it works. You'll see your score again, and then you can just reset your personal score right here. This is generally for bow ranges or for bow shooting. The longest shot that you have on here is that red deer back there, which is, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's 100 meters. So that is going to be the furthest shot that you can practice on here, but it is very helpful. It is very cool, and I would definitely recommend going here if you really want to learn about stuff like the longbow or the recurve bow, because you can do some really good practicing here and getting quite accurate with it. But let's move over, let's get over, and let's go to tip number 2. Okay, so the next one is going to also revolve around the shooting range, but this is more towards the beginner player who doesn't yet have the perk for zeroing. So if you look at the bottom right, you can see that I have no zeroing. I can't change it with F or anything like that. So technically it's not quite clear where you're zeroed at, but if I can show that here real quick, let me actually quickly just reset that. It is kind of funny how this works. I don't really find that it's at one range. Now, some people are quoted to say that it's 100 meters. So as you saw, we hit right where we shot. But look, if I go to 50 meters, which is exactly half that distance, it just ever so slightly goes up on 50. Now, obviously, the M1 is also a very flat shooting rifle. But in general, I'd kind of orientate the zeroing around about between 100 and 150 meters for this. So it's just another cool little tip, cool little trick that you might want to know. Obviously, you have the beginner scope on here, so aiming is a little bit more of a challenge. But on my main account, I actually don't have anything else that I could activate to kind of go as something else that I could activate other than the perk for gauging the distance of an animal, which kind of is useless to that fact, because that thing obviously just does the same thing as zeroing. It kind of ranges your rifle similarly to where you want to aim, because I tried it out on the range as well. I shot at 300 and I hit on 300. I didn't change anything on the zeroing, shot at 50 and I hit at 50. So I feel like that's what that perk does. I'm not quite sure, but I just wanted to go sure, so I went on a completely new account, just level 3 right now, and yeah, that's how we managed. But with that being said, we are also going to be moving on with this account to another quick tip, which for everybody who always goes broke, because yeah, as you can see, we are broke right now, there's another cool tip in terms of taxidermizing. So let's go hop on over there, let me find an animal, and then we're going to move on to actually the next 2 tips. Okay, and as promised, for tips number 2 and 3, or actually this would be 3 and 4 now, because the no zeroing perk one is probably number 2. We have a way, first of all, in terms of how you could move an animal. So let's say the animal dies over there, but you want to get a cool picture either with your dog or just have a cool picture in better sunlight or in a little bit of a better positioning. what you can do is you can go ahead and get in your ATV. Now it's a little bit more of a hassle with these smaller animals. It generally works better for bigger animals, but as you can see, you can drive the animal around and get it in a bit more of a desirable position. Now, trying to get the head back up to be straight can be challenging, but if you just drive it towards the back, that will work. Now, in comparison to the dog, you can't really, well, you can move the dog with a ATV, but as you can see, I just walk straight through this fallow deer. Even if I go small, I'm just gonna basically walk right through them. But with the dogs, what you can do there is you can just move those around by walking into them. So you can just move those around, and now you can just sit here and take yourself a cool picture of the trophy that you just packed, and everything is cool. Now, number 4 in this case, next trick, is if you pick the animal up, and I don't know, let's say this was an albino, a melanistic, or something like that, what you could actually do at this point, and let's say you don't have enough money to taxidermize this. Let's say you only had 3,000 out of 3,500, or you're at the beginning trying to save up for something like the 7mm, you're trying to save up for a tent setup, and you don't really want to spend any money, but you still found a cool rare or an animal that you want to save. What you can do is you can just go under Save Harvest and press this right here, and the animal will be saved. And then when you go in the Trophy Lodge and go under Save, or go under Trophy Manager, at the top right, you'll see an option that says Saved Harvest, and there's going to be a list that shows up, and you can go in there, and it will actually just show you all the animals that you saved, and you can taxidermize them or delete them if anything like that happens. Now, I'm not going to save this because obviously this is just a tiny male, that's nothing special, but that is a good way of doing it, and it is very effective and has saved me quite a bit of cash at the beginning when I started playing. So I think this tip will really help you out. But now let's move over to Layton Lakes and let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so I was actually just about to say that with the Hyperion, that every dot is a 50-meter zeroing, but I have a feeling that they might have changed that. So we're currently at a 150-meter zeroing here, and we're going to be aiming at rabbits that are about 250 away. And with that, yeah, so it is now 100 meters and no longer 50 meters for every dot. So that has changed. That is something that probably a lot of people did not know about this point, but if you're going in the Hyperion scope like this and use them all the way in, every single dot below there is going to be zeroing in for an additional 100 meters for the 22 LR. You can sort of use that as guides in for other rifles as well, but generally I would kind of advise you not to do that, just because stuff like the M1 is a very flat shooting rifle, and it only really starts to drop off after around 315 to 320 meters. So yeah, I wouldn't really worry too much about it with other rifles, but with the 22 this can be very helpful, especially since this rifle only goes up to 150 meters, and most people like shooting stuff like ducks and rabbits at a longer distance. But I just want to quickly say that, let's go pick that thing up and see where we actually hit it. Now I'm curious what exact distance we were actually. So yeah, so we were around about 260 and we hit kind of where we aimed. So yeah, that's how it works now. It's a 100-meter zeroing advantage now, no longer 50, which I think is going to interest quite a few people, because I just tried it at 50 and the 22 overshot way. So yeah, that has changed now. Just want to let you guys know that so that you could know that for the future. But let's move on, because I think we have one more little thing that you didn't know about Call of the Wild. Before we wrap this one up, I am going to be making a second episode, I think, of this, because I actually quite enjoyed doing this, doing all the research, finding stuff out, and just having fun with things that people don't know about the game. But let's move on to the last tip, and then I think we're going to wrap this up so we don't make this too long. Okay, now this last one is somebody told me on stream, and I did a little bit of research into it to make sure that this was actually true. This is not going to be really a tip or a trick. This is more kind of a fun fact in Call of the Wild, or of the bullet in general. So we all know the .30-06, which we use in the M1, and the 30-06 rifle, but what I think a lot of people don't know is actually the naming behind it, which I thought was really interesting. So the .30 refers to the caliber size in inches, but the 06 in the end actually refers to the year that this was adopted into the military, which was 1906. And I just thought that was a cool and fun, like, mini just information that I thought was interesting, and I thought I should add it into this video because, again, these are things that you probably didn't know about Call of the Wild, and I'm going to assume that around 99% of you are not going to know that. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. And holy, how does that guy look? But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I had a lot of fun doing the research for it and trying to find things out. Again, if you have other things that you might think that most people are not going to know about in Call of the Wild, let me know down below in the description, or not description, the comment section, because I would absolutely love to know what you guys have to say, or what other things that you think that I also don't know. Also, comment down below how many of the tips that you actually knew in here, just so I can kind of get a reference of what you guys know. But yeah, like I said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, so it really does help out the channel. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you haven't done so already. It would really mean a lot to me. With that being said, have a good day, and bye bye and peace.